The day the music died, a phrase made popular by the hit song American Pie, perfectly describes the deaths of Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and J.P. Richardson. It was one of the greatest tragedies rock and roll has ever seen. They all had many chart-topping hits that are still enjoyed today. Their untimely deaths in Iowa on February 3, 1959, greatly changed rock and roll culture, and it killed three of its most influential members. Charles Harding Holly, or Buddy Holly as he is most commonly known, was a singer and songwriter in the 50s. In his short career, Holly set the template for modern rock band setups: 2 guitar players, 1 bass player, and 1 drummer. He also was one of the first people to both write and sing his music. Holly had a massive influence on future rock stars such as Elton John, Bob Dylan, Keith Richardson, and John Lennon. Dylan actually attended one of Holly's concerts 3 days before his death. Some people claim that the Beatles got their buggy name from the name of Holly's first band, the Crickets. His famous black-rimmed glasses also set a trend and made it acceptable for rock stars to wear goggles while performing. Richard Stephen Valenzuela, also known as Ritchie Valens, was another singer that boarded the plane that fateful day. Valens was an innovator in the Latin rock world, and he paved the way for later Spanish singing groups such as Selena, Caifanes, Café Tacuba, Circo, and El Gran Silencio. His combination of traditional Latin American music and rock and roll became an instant success. Valens has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame located on 6733 Hollywood Boulevard. Valens' music is still enjoyed today. You can find it in video games such as Mafia 2. Valens' death ushered in a new wave of Latin rock stars, of which would never have come to fame if he hadn't paved the way. Giles Perry Richardson, Jr., aka the Big Bopper, started his music career as a radio broadcaster in Texas. He worked there for many years before he began to write his own music. He wrote many songs, including the quite popular song White Lightning, which is about moonshine. He then signed as a singer. His first and biggest hit was the song Chantilly Lace, which spent many weeks on the top 40. It was because of the success of this song that the Big Bopper was on the Winter Dance Tour. He wasn't supposed to be on the plane that crashed. However, his seat was given to him because he had the flu. The Big Bopper has a resounding influence on not just rock music, but music as a whole. He is credited with the creation of the first music video, so you can thank him for the creation of MTV, which at one point did show music videos, but now is just filled with useless garbage. By the time of his death, Big Bopper had written over 20 songs. A good event to compare the date the music died to is the death of John Lennon, another great musician that was killed before his time. Lennon was the founder of the undisputed and most successful rock band ever, the Beatles. He began his rise to stardom when he created the band in 1956, shortly after he met Paul McCartney. The band quickly gained popularity and picked up the 2 remaining members. After Lennon left the band to pursue his solo career, he started voicing many of his opinions on politics, pacifism, and Christianity. He was murdered by Paul Chapman outside his apartment building. Chapman shot him 5 times in the back before proceeding to calmly take off his coat, sit on the sidewalk, read Catcher in the Rye, and wait for the cops. Lennon's murder is similar to the death of the 3 musicians because it was felt globally. Both groups had an international fan base. In fact, Lennon was actually a fan of Buddy Holly, who toured in the UK. They both spawned a tribute song. Lennon's was All Those Years Ago, and of course the 3 musicians was American Pie by Don McLean. Some differences are that John Lennon's death was not an accident. He was murdered by an insane person. The plane crash, however, was an accident. In conclusion, the day the music died was one of the darkest days in rock history, and it ended the lives of 3 stars that had not yet reached their primes. The day would later be described as the loss of innocence early rock by Don McLean when he was talking about his hit song that he wrote about the day. Rock has moved on now, but the scars that the plane crash left on the face of rock can never be completely healed.